Welcome back students in this series of Munstack technology. So in the previous video we have discussed about HTML list and three type of HTML list, which is unordered list, ordered list and description list with example. So in this video we'll discuss about HTML tables. So HTML tables allow a web developer to arrange the data into a row and a column. So if you don't want to store the data into a one-dimensional list format, but you want to store your data into a two-dimensional in a row column format, you can easily use a HTML table format. A table in HTML consists of table cells inside rows and columns. So basically an intersection of a row and a column is known as a cell. So in HTML we have cells used for storing the data. For example, let me show you some live example of the forms. The website is of Indira Gandhi National Open University, and there is some term and examination question papers. So to store the data, they use basically two columns and six rows. So this data is written in a tabular format. Also, let's see another example of a table in this data. This is basically a examination form of Indira Gandhi National Open University. So they have stored some guidelines regarding to the examination. So this dates, this prescribed free, this allotment of the exam center is known as a table heading. And for tag used for this table heading is th tag. And this 17 November, this 200, these are basically table data. All this is known as a table data. So you can easily use table heading and table data for that. So table consists of rows, columns, headings and data. Now let's see an example how to create a table and how to use table in HTML. So to create a table in HTML, first of all we have to use the table tag for that. So I'll write table. In table, first of all, there are number of rows. So let's suppose my table consists of 3 rows. So I'll write down tr. So tr tag is used for describing the table rows. So let me suppose my table have 4 rows. Let me first of all correct the. So this code will elaborate that my table will consist of total number of 4 rows. Now first row, let's say in the first row I want the table heading. So in first row I'll write down table heading th tag. Let's say table heading will be name. Second table heading will be age, and third table heading will be, let's suppose, course. Now in the second row I want to store the data. So I'll write down, for data we use a td tag, that is known as table data tag. So in table data we'll write down the first name Kuldeep. Let's write down the second name Aman, and let's write down the third name, which is, let's say, Ram. But if I save this and get the output, if I check the output, so basically this is the output, which is quite a wrong, because name Kuldeep is alright, but age Aman is not good. So I'll just recheck this and put this TD into the third row and put this TD into the fourth. Next I'll write down table data age of Kuldeep. Let's say age of Kuldeep is 45. Next we'll write down the course for Kuldeep, and let's say the course for Kuldeep will be Munstack. Now in the next row I'll write down table data age, let's say 40, and data, let's say course will be Java. Next row in the next row let's add the age as TD and 45 and data. Let's save this. Let's check the output. So now this looks like a table. So this is how a basic table will look like. So name, age and course are basically the table heading. Kuldeep, Aman, Rahul are, these all are basically the data of the table. Now in the next module, we'll study about how to style these tables. How to add some borders, add some colors, background color, foreground color, some italic shape, anything which we want to describe about this table, we'll do that in the CSS part. But for now, this is basically how you create the raw format of a table.